Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
We've seen it through the year. I mean, that's what the season's for, right? Is to get a dress rehearsal for what we're going through now. And we've been through this. We've done it. We've been there, and we've got out of it. And we expect our group to do the exact same thing. Our group's very resilient and led in the right way by Spurge. We've talked about it all year. His positive attitude, his team first attitude, and the guys will follow him in the right direction.
We were raised with a stick and a pair of blades.
And great expectations. He let you down after 2 good games.
Oh, man. I mean, haven't we learned our lesson by now with Minnesota sports teams? Whether there were expectations going into a season or whether it was like this Wild team where they just pop up a year earlier than expected and look like they could make a run, right? Like, it always ends the same way. For 30 years, unless it's the Minnesota Lynx 4 championship dynasty, for 30 years, it always usually it ends very quickly too. It's like with the Wild, with the Twins, it just sort of ends right after it started.
That's true about the Twins.
And you're just left to.
That's been true for the Twins for the past 18 postseason games.
Yeah,
they brought a very quick end.
Yeah. So,
but this
anyways,
has been painful. It's just these last 5 periods were just painful. And please stop talking about disallowed goals. Okay, they had 2 goals disallowed.
Okay,
they also have 4 goals in 4 games.
Stop,
Mackey and Judd,
people. Stop. No, Judd, mute his mic. This is statements. We don't want to give away every statement in the first 30 seconds. We've got statements on Wild. We've got statements on the red-hot Minnesota Twins. Can't stop this Twins team and Miguel Sano. A great moment in golf yesterday. So,
oh God, was that fun?
It was a blast. I actually had to I had to follow the back 9 from a delayed flight that didn't. You have like the go-go in-flight internet that you pay like $10 for.
Yeah,
it's the first time I've ever had it say at the top, "We do not allow video streaming through go-go internet." So I was refreshing the Phil Mickelson search term in Twitter for 2 hours on a flight.
Well, hold on a second. So you couldn't watch? So it wouldn't allow you to watch it?
No, I literally had to refresh people's tweets for 2 hours.
Oh no, very disappointing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So anyhow, let's start with Judd Zulgad. Mackey and Judd weekend statements presented by our friends at Dennis Kirk. All right, if you're looking to get away from Minnesota sports teams, hop on your Harley, hop on your cruiser, and just ride away.
Into the sunset?
Ride to
Boston.
Into
the sunset?
Ride anywhere that doesn't have Minnesota sports teams losing in the playoffs. Well, Dennis Kirk has your back. 160,000 parts and accessories in stock. Clothing and helmets as well. Order before 8 p.m. and they ship the same day. And shipping is free for orders over $89. They are the best in the business at DennisKirk.com. Everything you need to ride away from these Minnesota sports teams. DennisKirk.com.
So you're telling me they'll never let you down at Dennis Kirk?
No.
Which every Minnesota sports team will do, aside from the Lynx.
When the pressure mounts, Dennis Kirk rises up to the occasion.
What's that like?
Unlike some of our Minnesota sports teams. All right, let's
right.
start with Judd. You deliver the first statement. We'll go around it.
All right. It's very simple. It's okay, ladies and gentlemen. I'm breaking news here, too, by the way. This is I'm about to deliver a statement that is breaking news in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and I would say all throughout Twins territory, as Dick likes to talk about. It's okay to criticize great players. I'll expand just a little bit, and then I'm going to turn it over to you two because I feel like I've been fighting this fight for 2 days now. During the set between periods 2 and 3 on Saturday, I tweeted that Kirill Kaprizov, the Wild superstar, has been a disappointment in this series because he has 1 assist in 4 games. The Kirill stands, and I found out they are many, were very upset.
Well, I would say the three of us have been Kirill stans.
We have been.
I have a
Pumping
shirt
his
with
tires for months.
I have a
Yes.
shirt that says dollar bill on it that I wear to bed every night, for God's sakes. Like, come on. Are you kidding me? We love Kirill on this show.
But clearly, we might be Kirill stans, but there is a fan club of Kirill super stans that I offended greatly. Is Kirill Kaprizov the sole problem here? Absolutely not. But let me put it this way and then turn the conversation to you two. If you want me to blame the whole team, or you want me, let's talk about Victor Rask. Do you realize the disservice I'm doing to Kaprizov in doing that? This kid is a superstar. I think he's going to do great things. I am still on, as much as people try to push me off, the Kirill bandwagon at this point. But if we can't talk about a star or superstar player who is underperforming, then we don't deserve a championship here. We as fans, I'm not talking about the teams. We as fans don't deserve a championship here. And the lack of attention paid to this guy having 1 point in 4 games, possibly until today, it sounds like, is absolutely remarkable.
So it's funny. I was visiting some family in the Bay Area this weekend. My uncle's some health issues, and so I was in and out of Minnesota sports and the PGA Championship. But whenever I went in and started following what was happening with the Wild over the weekend, I just saw Judd just fighting with people on Twitter. And I'm very proud. Very proud. I feel like usually I'm the one that just like sits there for 3 hours and fights with Twins bloggers or Kirk Cousins stands. And so I just want to say, Judd Zulgad, you are fighting the good fight, trying to stand up for clickbait, which is what Score North is all about here. We all have clickbait tattoos across our chests. I'm going to defend Judd here. It's two things can be possible, okay? Thing number one, you can say and feel and you can say and feel that Kirill Kaprizov is the best Wild player that we've ever seen, and that he's one of the best young players in the NHL, and that he is the absolute compass for this Minnesota Wild franchise, right? You can also say, well, he hasn't really risen up to the moment in this series. You know, that clearly Vegas has made some adjustments, and he has not been able to overcome the adjustments, and he has not played as well as he did against Vegas in the regular season. And because of that, the Wild are down 3-1. Like, we can sit here and rip on Declan's guy, Rask. We can definitely make mention of some bad officiating in this series to this point. But the main reason why the Wild were so good against Vegas in the regular season was Kirill Kaprizov. And the reason why they haven't been as good against Vegas in the playoffs through 4 games is because of Kirill Kaprizov. You can say all those things and still be a huge fan of Kirill Kaprizov and what he has done as a rookie, right? Is it fair to say? Are we not able to compartmentalize those two things?
No, we're not, and I don't know why. That's the weird thing. And like, why? But here's my question. Like, if I was to ask you, the viewer, the Kirill stan, who's mad at me today, woke up mad at me. Last 2 days, you've been mad. Don't go to bed angry, but you did. Here's my question to you. What's your motivation? Like, is your motivation to see the Wild win a Stanley Cup, which Kaprizov is going to have to perform, and yes, he might be hurt. I don't know, but we don't know that now. Like, we can't work under that assumption until the team tells us he's hurt. Is your motivation for the Wild to win a cup because he's going to have to do far more, or do you somehow think that you're going to rate an invitation to his 25th birthday if you don't criticize him? It's a very weird dynamic, and it's so counterproductive, and I fear it's been taught. I hate to turn the tables on us, Phil Mackey and Declan Goff, but I will. I fear it's been taught by a lot of people who do what we do in this town, which is, let's be nice to the players. Let's love the players. Let's love, at least, unless his name is, for instance, Joe Mauer, right? But for the most part, you know, let's love the Vikings. Kirk, oh, he's our quarterback. He's got to take us to, and it's not, I'm not accusing everybody of this because that's unfair and I'm not doing that. But there are a lot of people who are now falling in the same trap with Kaprizov, which is, don't talk about him. Don't criticize him. Do you think in good sports towns if Kirill Kaprizov had 1 point in 4 games in Boston? Would they be like, yeah, but have you guys watched Victor Rask? No, hell no. They talk about the guy. They talk about their star player.
Yeah, I think there's a level of standards and a level of accountability that you just have to, whether it's fans, media, it's okay to set some standards. It's okay to say this player isn't living up to. It's okay to say that Kirk Cousins isn't worth his contract, right? It's like, I mean, praise players when they do well, and that's fine.
Yes,
but
and
but the other side of the coin is what we're seeing. And if you just want to break it down from just like the most basic stats, okay? Kirill Kaprizov had one of the highest shooting percentages or goals per shot attempt in the NHL this season. I mean, he was converting shots on goal to goals at almost a 20% clip in the regular season. And so, which is absurd, right? So it stands to reason that even if it's not sustainable long term, that like he should be taking as many shots on goal as without just like crossing center ice and flinging it, wildly. But like when I see 8 shots on goal through 4 games, I mean, you either got to find a way to unclog the bottleneck with him, whatever Vegas is doing, or he just has to find a way to fire off 5 or 6 or 7 shots and just make it happen, right? So that's where I rely on you guys to tell me, why does he only have 8 shots on goal through the first 4 games? But it is to me, my statement is here. I'll give you my first statement so we can just roll in and you guys can give your analysis. I just feel like it is. Oh, sorry, I missed the soundbite. There we go. It is a fair criticism to say that Kirill Kaprizov should be more active in this series. So why does he only have 8 shots on goal through 4 games?
He's been shut down. They're putting the clamps on him, and Ryan Hartman's getting shots on goal. But Ryan Hartman should not be the story here. Oh, but he's lurking really hard, and he's getting robbed by Marc-Andre Fleury because Kirill Kaprizov's getting hyper focused on. And if you shut down, if you're at Vegas, if you're any opposing team, and by the way, Colorado swept St. Louis, so the winner of this series will meet Colorado in the second round. Your number 1 goal should be shut down Kirill Kaprizov, and can the Wild beat us with everyone else but him? Can Kevin Fiala do it, who has like 18 shots on goal with no goals? Joel Eriksson Ek has had 2 goals disallowed. They have done everything you're supposed to do to shut them down offensively, and kudos to Vegas too. Like it's not even the fact of Kirill Kaprizov, oh no, like expectations. Like at the same time, Vegas has done a very, very good job at taking Minnesota's best player away from them.
They have, but here's the thing with great players, and this is where, so Kaprizov played pro hockey in Russia for 6 years. He's played in Olympics. He has played in a lot of huge games, Phil, and he excelled in the regular season. But I do believe, and this is where I'm hopeful that this is going to pay off next year. I do believe that the playoffs in this league is the toughest step to go. So regular season can be tough and teams try, but not like they try in the playoffs. And I'll give you 2 examples of things that have, I think, impacted Kaprizov where he needs to find ways as well. So this is on coaching, it's on adjustments, but it's also on the player. And the first is the Game 1 save that Fleury made, that acrobatic save where he basically was flopping around. It was a great save. That's the greatest chance Kaprizov has had. So, if there were 5 of those, I'd be like, well, he's just getting robbed. But there aren't. And to Phil's point and Dex's point, there have been 8 shots on goal by him. 8 shots on goal. I fast forward to Game 4 on Saturday. The Vegas defenseman tries to pass the puck up the slot in his own zone. Bad move. Kaprizov is standing right there. All right? So for a moment, he is in the slot with the puck, and the Golden Knights are caught completely off guard. To his right along the boards, Zuccarello. Now, Kaprizov's got to make a play there for himself. This is where he's masterful, right? He's in the slot. He's got a multitude of opportunities, and almost all of the good ones involve, because he's point blank range from Fleury, shooting the puck, right? He passes the puck to the right wing side. Zuccarello takes a shot from the boards, and he can shoot from there. I'm not saying it's a terrible shot, but the decision itself is a decision a year from now in the playoffs that has to be right, and that was the wrong one. So I'm hoping that Kaprizov can learn and can absorb the fact that the phrase that I always use is, in the playoffs, in this league, time and space disappear. And that's where he thrives, time and space. It's taken away by good teams. But that doesn't mean that you can disappear yourself. I mean, that's not no time and space for me, so see you in October, right? So what has to happen here is I believe the Dean has to do a better job of finding ways to adjust himself. But Kaprizov has to take what he's given right now and thrive. And he's not thriving. And that can't be a long-term thing for him to truly be a superstar.
There is I hesitate to put these guys in the same bin because they're not. Kaprizov's better than the players I'm going to mention here. But there is a history, the last 10 years specifically, with good young Wild players shriveling up in the postseason, right? Mm-hmm. Most notably, Mikael Granlund and Jason Zucker. Jason Zucker, and again, Kaprizov is better than Zucker. So I don't want to put those guys in the same sentence all the time, but 31 playoff games with Minnesota. Now he's played a handful with Pittsburgh too, but Zucker played 31 playoff games with the Wild, 4 goals in 31 playoff games. And Granlund had a flurry early in his rookie year. He had like a handful of goals in that first year, and then after that, his second playoff run, 10 games, 6 points. And then he only had 2 goals in his next 16 playoff games. Now, he wasn't as big of a goal scorer as Kaprizov. He was more of a distributor. But, the game gets different. The game bottlenecks more. You don't get as much space. You don't get to fly around the ice like you would in the regular season. Yep. And those guys couldn't solve it, and it led to the end of an era and coaching changes and roster shakeups, right? So I just want to nip this in the bud early. We are not anywhere – like they could still roll off 3 straight wins and win the series, all right? I think there's a good chance they bounce back and put up a fight in Game 5. But I just want to highlight this is a thing with young Wild players where they look really great. They look great. They skate around, and they're young and promising, and then they run into a good, grinded-out team in the playoffs that knows how to bottleneck them, and there's no adjustment. So just, listen, you guys are off the Kirill Kaprizov bandwagon, clearly. I am not, okay? I got a lower back tattoo that says dollar bill, so...
Declan's got a shirt.
Yeah.
So don't come crying to me when when he scores 2 goals in Game 5 and you want to come back on the bandwagon.
And one last thing on Kirill before I give my statements too. I saw this floated around. Well, Pavel Datsyuk, when Pavel Datsyuk came in the league, similar to Kirill, came in at 23-24.
Yep.
In his first 42 playoff games, Pavel Datsyuk, 3 goals.
Yeah.
3 goals. He was shut down.
Yep.
And so people said, oh, well, so he could be like Datsyuk. But, here's the thing. You know who Datsyuk was also playing on? He was playing on one of the best teams of all time. The supporting cast around Pavel Datsyuk, I don't know, Sergei Fedorov, Brett Hall, Chris Osgood, Nicholas Lindstrom, NHL Hall of Famers.
Yzerman, right?
Yzerman, for God's sakes. I forgot even Steve Yzerman.
Yep.
I'm talking about 4 Hall of Fame players. Yeah. The second best player on the Wild right now is Kevin Fiala, and I am number 1. I am the warden of the Kevin Fiala fan club. I'm not the president. I am the warden because I punish those who look down upon him.
Phil. He's got a nightstick now.
And even in my wildest fantasy, Kevin Fiala is probably not going to be an NHL Hall of Fame player. He probably isn't. All those guys around the Red Wings were Hall of Fame players. These do not make the comparison that Pavel Datsyuk and Kirill are in the same situation there. Not even close. Not even close.
That's fair. All right, go ahead, Dex.
All right, my first statement. It's get with the times, also Minnesota Wild. Speaking of youth movement, get with the times. I just saw this morning, Spencer Knight is going to start in net for the Florida Panthers tonight. 20-year-old, second-round pick, top prospect. Their season's on the brink.
Third goaltender that they're going to start in these playoffs, too.
And but he's their future. Actually, I don't think he was a second-round pick. He was a
first-round pick,
14th overall.
Lindsey
pick
Brown
not too
loved
long
him.
ago. Yeah, and LB on Judd's Hockey Show was advocating the Wild should have drafted him. Mm-hmm. He's going to start tonight. Cole Caulfield for Montreal, drawn into the lineup tonight in Game 3 with their series tied, not on the brink of elimination, but tied. Interesting.
Oh, we need more
Weird.
Parise. More Parise.
I wonder what we're doing. No, we don't need more Parise.
Bring back Koivu.
This is the Final 5, and we need to play Kyle Rao again. That's what we need. This is Red Baron's Final 5. Michigan Tech's in town, baby, and we got to play Kyle Rao. Are you kidding me? Play Matthew Boldy. And you're still going to give Victor Rask run. You're still going to give Zach Parise run on the 4th line. All these other teams, the playoffs, are getting with the times. But, Kyle Rauch, well, he had a nice game. He skated well. He played okay. Zach Parise was a power play veteran, but he sits on the bench and moans and groans, and the broadcasters can't understand it. Put in Matthew Boldy. Your season's on the brink. There's no time better than the present. Get him in the dang lineup.
Well, here's the update, okay? Jeremy tweets at Mike Russo, when is morning skate? We'll all be very curious to see the lineup with everything on the line and another wild postseason scoring drought. When are we going to see a Boldy debut? Russo responds.
Oh, he responded.
11:30 morning skate. Boldy's not playing.
Yeah.
Straight up, Boldy's not playing. So, I mean, if they're not going to play him in a do or die game 5 here, like they're just probably not going to play him, right? I mean, the last 2 games with a couple injuries and with like you've had some chances to play that card and they haven't. So they're not going to. I don't think they're going to play that card in these playoffs.
Am I next?
Go ahead.
I'm going to amend. I'm going to approach the line of scrimmage. Omaha. I'm calling an audible here then off of all of this.
Victor Rask.
Dean Evason has had a horse bleep coaching series. What are you doing?
I love how you guys are just turning on all the hockey guys. You guys love Evason.
No. I don't. No. I love Guerin. I don't love Dino. Kaprizov, I definitely love. Kaprizov's special. He's going to be special. But where are what Dex just went through that? Where are the adjustments? Keep in mind, Parise drew into the lineup on Saturday because Johansson was hurt. And their counter then was, well, we're putting in one slow guy. We'll take out Bukestad and put in Kyle Rauch. Where are the adjustments in game? Where are the adjustments? And Phil, you have 4 goals in 4 games, and it always takes until the third period for them to be like, I wonder if we should change up the lines a little bit. Good or bad, you need to start the game with Fiala and Kaprizov and I guess Hartman on the same line to try and generate firepower and give the Golden Knights something to concern themselves with. I mean, this is not hard. This is not calculus. This is like bantam hockey stuff. Right now, you have Hartman, Zuccarello, and Kaprizov, okay? So where this is a problem is, it feels like Zuccarello is back to the, I'll pass a little bit more now. And he'll shoot occasionally. But Vegas, for the most part, knows that he's not a huge threat to shoot. So they're all drawn to Kaprizov. But the problem then is Kaprizov's like, well, then I should really pass too. And it's, as Dex said, it's like, okay, let's give the shot to Ryan Hartman. At least if you put 22 and 97 on the same line from the get-go, I know that's all your quote-unquote, if there is such a thing, firepower on one line. But it's going to make Vegas have to think because that's a guy with 18 shots, which leads the team in the series, with a guy who definitely, if emboldened, and Kaprizov can shoot, right? Like, where are the in-game adjustments? Matthew Dumba has become a liability beyond belief defensively. There's never an adjustment there. It's just like, well, take your next shift. We're all fine out there. Like, there's no sense from the coaching staff, and I mean, I guess it goes up to Billy too. There's no sense of urgency here of the situation. It's just sort of like, well, this is how we play. It's confounding to me. No, this is not how you play. You played horse bleep for 5 periods. You lost 2 games at home, and your response is, well, yeah, but it should work. Well, yeah, a lot of things should work. My lawnmower should have worked, but I didn't put oil in the damn thing and it busted, okay? Like, I had to go get a new one. Go change things up. And Dex had a marvelous meltdown on Wild Vent Line Saturday night, in which he is exactly right and said some of the same things that he just said here, which is, Kyle Rauch is your answer? Kyle Rauch is a journeyman player. God bless him. He's about 5'4". That's your playoff response? This whole thing is completely confusing and I need to see more from this coaching staff for the same reason why the Kaprizov thing concerns me a bit. Because until I see your adjustments and your acknowledgement of, oh, this is how the playoffs work, folks, got bad news. We have seen coaches and players fall into patterns here, right? Let's see. Can I find the last one? Who's the last manager or coach in this town who fell? Oh, Rocco Baldelli pulling his pitchers far too early in playoff games. So, let's see some progress here in this whole Boldy thing. Well, we know what's best. Have you watched your last 5 periods of hockey?
I want to add one more thing to this, too, okay? And we're early on this statement, so I'm not. This is just sort of a teaser statement for a time in the future. But my statement here is: be careful giving away playoff chances with the hope and the idea that you'll have future chances to perform well, right? Now, admittedly, this Wild team did arrive early. Their roster isn't as deep as a lot of the other teams that they would have to face going through, right? Like, they're not going to be favored even if they win 3 games against Colorado. So they have some more building to do before this is a roster that you would say, yeah, this is a legitimate Stanley Cup winning collection, right? But I also feel like with the Twins especially, and this has happened with the Vikings too, right? Like 2017, where you get to the playoffs, whether there was expectations or not, like you arrived in the playoffs, and then you get beat in some sort of dramatic or heartbreaking fashion, or an early exit or sweep, which is always the case with the Twins. And the thought is, all right, well, that sucked, but next year is the year where you're going to add a piece here, going to add a piece there. But the reality is you're not always guaranteed to make a run next year, right? Look at the Twins. I mean, I know they've won 3 out of 4, and we'll get to them, the hottest team in the universe right now. But you're not, just because it feels like the Wild are supposed to have like a 5 or a 6 year window ahead of them, doesn't guarantee that there's not going to be 2 other teams in the Western Conference load up with a couple young superstars and pass them, right? Like, Vegas didn't even exist when the Wild were going through most of their playoff runs a few years ago. And then all of a sudden, there's this new team that's amazing, and they're a Stanley Cup contender, right? So be careful taking for granted a multi-year contender window, all right? That's all I will say. Cash in when you've got the chance.
And as a management team and coaching staff, have the sense of urgency that acknowledges what you just said. Like, have that sense of this whole Boldy thing to me is, oh, he's not right. You know, clearly they're saying he's not prepared yet. And Declan just went through a litany of guys who you could probably make the same case for, and they're playing. Like, that's my biggest thing is we also think that our teams are going to, like, get it next year. They'll understand. You know, Rocco will let Baldelli go 7 next year. Not necessarily true, folks. Yeah. And as much as you might like teams or as much as you might like players and the people that run those teams, your goal should be championships for the teams. Mm-hmm. How do you get there? You get there by learning, and you're right, Phil, you get there by not just saying, well, yeah, that was fun, wait till next year. It's dangerous.
Yep. Declan is next, but these 30 therapeutic minutes were also presented by Federated. So Federated provides peace of mind and risk management tools for business owners. They have also been masochistic sports fans throughout the history of their company. They've supported local sports teams. They've supported us here at Score North and on Purple Daily. So we thank them for that. And they've been standing behind business owners for over 100 years. So check out federatedinsurance.com to find out a full list of industries that they protect and to find out more about MyShield, which is the online client destination for risk management resources. Federated, it's our business to protect yours. All right, statements back over to Declan.
All right, another wild one. It's this. Please stop looping in Marc-Andre Fleury and Jake Allen in the same sentence. I understand that it seems very similar because you have expected goal rates. And again, this is where analytics can be kind of an issue because you say expected goal rates. We should have this many goals. But do you have this many goals? No, you don't. I understand that Jake Allen stoned you for 5 games, no pun intended. I get that Marc-Andre Fleury is also playing out of his mind a little bit right now. But Marc-Andre Fleury is a Hall of Fame goaltender, a 3-time Cup winner, 2 of them as the starter, 1 of them as the backup. He's 4th all-time in wins. He's top 15 in almost every major statistic. Jake Allen is the backup in Montreal and probably could be out of the league in a couple years. Marc-Andre Fleury is a first-ballot Hall of Famer. It's also a completely different wild card team. I know right now it has the same feel, but this is a completely different situation than it was 4 or 5 years ago. Also, that Wild team in 2017, they were expected to win. They had the home ice. It was a completely different situation. If I hear one more person put Marc-Andre Fleury and Jake Allen in the same sentence, I'm going to absolutely lose it. That's not even remotely a fair comparison. It's disrespectful to Marc-Andre Fleury and the Flower. He's one of the best to ever do it. Don't put Jake Allen and Marc-Andre Fleury in the same sentence.
It's good. It's good stuff here today. I
There's
feel
a lot of vitriol.
The venom, the
Vitriol in this room, yeah.
This is what happens, though. We get all excited when one of our teams, all right, there we go. This is the year. Going to do some damage, right? Going to at least get beyond
first
the
round,
first
right.
round, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do this thing. And then like 5 days later, we're just lashing out.
Well, and the worst part is the tease. I think we would have just flat out been sort of disgusted if they had played 4 or 5 bad games, right? But guys, those first 2 games were great. They were great. I mean, yes, they lost game 2. I don't care. It was great fun to watch. They competed, and then they come out in the first period of game 3, and it's just unbelievable. And I'm like, oh wow, this is so impressive, and it just disappeared. It just disappeared. And Fleury's been great, but the last 5 periods have also, I feel, dealt in the world of rolling over, basically, and that's disappointing when you saw such good product before that.
One thing I don't want to hear if they do wind up losing and the series is just over in 5 games, I don't want to hear like, okay, so what happened? Well, they just didn't show as much grit and effort as Vegas did. Like, I want to hear a real strategic reason, not like, oh, Vegas was just grittier. Like, I want. So if that happens, I'm relying on you guys to give me some real X's and O's.
Well, I do think that there will be a discussion point on the mentality of the team, which was way softer as far as mentally than I expected too.
All right, we'll see. I think I'll tell you what. I still stand by my hockey whisper prediction. This thing's going 7. I don't feel as confident that they're winning it in 7. But I'm on the record saying Kevin Fiala overtime, game 7, and we'll just.
All right.
And it has happened a few times in Wild history before. Down 3-1 is a good place to be.
For my next statement, can I go outside of the world of the National Hockey League?
Let's do it. Let's
right.
venture. Yeah.
As you guys know, you are far more golf guys than I am. Like, I'll dip into, the majors for sure, but I don't like live and die with them, and if I miss one or something, I don't really care. But this is my statement: score 1 for the old guys.
Dude.
Watching Phil Mickelson, lefty, who is going to turn 51, which is my age, I believe June 16th. He was born June 16th of 1970. Watching him win the PGA, and I don't know what the crowd restrictions were with like the ropes and stuff.
Very little.
But it appeared they were non-existent. Was one of the funnest things that I've watched in sports post-pandemic and really in the last couple of years, just as far as fun goes. Score 1 for the Graybeards.
Dude, it was, and Phil, I think as much as he has performed at a peak level and he's one of the greatest golfers at his peak of all time, he's also been known throughout 25 years as having some of the biggest meltdowns and chokes too, like missing short putts early in his career or wayward drives on the back 9 of majors and putting up big numbers to fall out of it. I mean, he's kind of an all or nothing guy, and lately it's been a lot of nothing, and he's played more successfully on the Champions Tour than he has on the PGA Tour. And it's amazing that 1 year ago today, I believe it was 1 year ago today, when sports had been dormant for 2 months, Phil, Tiger, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady gave us the match. And it was kind of a dud because they were playing in the rain and they were struggling. But it was the first live sporting event, and we all sat down. I think it was a Saturday afternoon, and it was amazing. Like, we were all just craving something live in sports. And at the time of that event, because Phil was so great, like he's talking, he's mic'd up, and I believe, I think, I can't remember when they played the PGA Championship last year, but I think he missed the cut or something, and he was doing commentary in the booth for the PGA Championship. So like a year ago at this time, the conversation was surrounding, boy, wouldn't it be great if we could get Phil in one of these booths as a commentator? Like we were putting him in the Tony Romo category, right? All right, he's clearly washed up as a player. Let's get him in here. He'd be, and I still think he'd be a great commentator. But to come back a year later, and these aren't no joke fields. I mean, this is one of the. I think it's the biggest field for a major, and it's the deepest in terms of. So you got all these guys that could just come up through a crapshoot pipeline because the field is so deep, and then you've got the best players in the world, and he slayed all of them, and it was so much fun to watch. I actually had to refresh Twitter for 2 hours on a plane that didn't provide streaming video, but it was fun to follow. And Dex is a golf guy too. So.
That crowd was so much fun.
Awesome.
It was really fun to watch.
Did you choose just how awkward too the exchange? I don't know if you saw it afterwards, Phil, with the awkward exchange with the cards with Brooks and Phil. Like Koepka's like, "Hey, good job, Phil. Thanks."
Didn't
Koepka,
see it.
No problem.
Koepka is
he's
a
weirdo,
douche, dude. He's a
douche.
He is the least likable dude. I mean, there's been some unlikable guys. Like Bryson DeChambeau is kind of an unlikable guy. And the sport needs these guys. They need guys you can root against on Sunday to major. But did you hear what Brooks Koepka's excuse and line was afterwards?
I saw the crowd and like his knee and people didn't give a bleep or something.
He literally accused the crowd of trying to purposely hurt his knee in the All right, I get that it would be sort of terrifying that you're getting swallowed up by
How did
thousands
that happen?
of people.
Can you explain that?
Apparently, one of the security guards yelled, "They're coming, and I can't stop them." Alrighty, that's comforting. The same thing happened at the Tour Championship in 2018 with Tiger Woods. If you guys remember, when he won his first tournament back from the multiple back surgeries and whatnot.
No, I don't.
And he's walking up. It was East Lake, I think, is where they play the Tour Championship. He's walking up 18, and fans went through the ropes, and it was Tiger Woods like in this sea of just hundreds and thousands of fans. And like you still have to finish out the round, right? Like, I mean, Phil Mickelson was only 2 shots up, and so you can't 3-putt it. You got to make sure Brooks Koepka doesn't hit a bomb to birdie or something. But it was legitimately with his age and with the field and Brooks Koepka and even Oosthuizen, who's one of the best golfers in the world. He finished, I think, in a tie for second. But the whole thing was like top 5 most fun I've ever had watching or following golf.
It was great. So more impressive. Brady winning a Super Bowl, I think he's 43, or what Phil did at nearly 51.
Isn't Brady 45?
No, he's 43.
I think he's 43.
Is he?
I looked it up yesterday to tweet that question.
He's 43.
But just given the circumstances, their ages, because both are incredible. Yeah. But which impresses you more, Brady or Mickelson?
Mickelson, in part, I'll put it into context this way too. And Declan and I were not really. I was alive, but I was like 1. Declan was not alive when Jack Nicklaus won the Masters in 1986.
In his 40s, right?
And it was deemed as out of nowhere, like the bear has come out of hibernation for the first time since the 70s, right? And where did this magical run come from? He was 46.
Yeah,
46. Phil has also been mostly dormant. Like, he's played in the majors. He hasn't really, I can't remember the last time he truly contended in a major. Last time he won one was 8 years ago in 2013. But to me, this came more out of nowhere because of how old he is and how much better the fields are. Like, all due respect to Jack Nicklaus in the 80s, but like, it wasn't like there weren't a bunch of young dudes hitting the ball 350 yards with like gun show biceps, right? It was mostly a bunch of Craig Stadlers walking around in khakis. So I think I think this is more impressive than Jack. Maybe not as magical. And I think because Tom Brady has always been at the top of his game, like we haven't seen Brady go away for 4 years. Like if Brady had been garbage and maybe was benched or something and then came back, then I would say, wow, look at that magic run. But Phil was kind of done. He was kind of cooked as a contender. He's 115th in the world right now. So to me, it's Phil.
I think it's Brady, personally. Even though golf is a game where you can age and play better, I think what Brady was able to do in football is so much more crazier to me than what Phil was able to do yesterday. That being said, golf is literally individual. There's no supporting cast around you. But Tom has had, he basically got to a super team in Tampa Bay and helped them win a Super Bowl. So I can see both coins, but I would lean Brady. I'd lean Brady.
I think it's Phil because he's really damn old. And I know how he feels. And plus, the dude lost a lot of weight. Like, he looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, he got tubby.
Gun show, man. Gun show.
And I think because it's an individual sport, in which, to Phil Mackey's point, there's a lot of guys now who are really damn good. I think it's a guy that at nearly 51 wins that thing. Like if that was an ordinary tournament, it would be impressive. Mm-hmm. Like if that was just a weekly stop. This is a major, and he basically went wire to wire, right? Like I mean, he got off to a great start, and it didn't stop. So, as great as TB is, and it's and I mean, to play that sport at that age is remarkable. I think it's Mickelson coming back at an age where you can play in the senior tour, Champions Tour, and he still wins a major.
I'll tell you though, if you're 50 years old, you might not win a major, but you can improve your golf game by going to PXG Minneapolis in Southdale Center. All right, the Gen 4 golf clubs have landed. We saw the PXG Minneapolis pro Derek Holmes, who at one point he was actually tied for second the first day of the PGA Championship. A few holes into his round, he got it under par, and then that course is almost impossible for anyone other than the top golfers in the world. So he put up a good fight. Didn't quite make the cut, but he represented PXG Minneapolis and Minnesota very well. The Gen 4 clubs are the best performing clubs PXG has ever made, so check those out again. PXG Minneapolis in Southdale Center and pxg.com/Minneapolis. All right, the next statement is more of a patting on the back. Of course, everyone the last few days like, see, Miguel Sano. Listen, here's the statement. We told you so on this show. I told you so on this show. All right?
You did, 100%.
3-week hot stretch. He's about a week into it right now, maybe a week and a half, somewhere in there. He's got the OPS back toward 800, batting average still well below 200. And as a result, he has helped the Twins put up, in their 3 wins in 4 games, they're averaging 8 runs a game in those 3. And so that's the offense that we wanted to see early. Second part to the statement, it's still too late. There's still 12 games under 500. The trade deadline is 2 months away. And so for me, personally, I think this could be a great opportunity to shop Miguel Sano while he's hot. I don't know if they have the stones to do that while they attempt to dig out of this hole. But what do you guys think about the Twins winning 3 out of their last 4 games? Maeda, by the way, DL with a shoulder. So going to need some more starting pitching at some point that I don't think is close to coming. But what do you guys think?
If I had to pick one word to describe my feelings right now, it'd be lukewarm. Lukewarm. Like, it's okay, but the bullpen, Robles still blew the save on Sunday. You went to extras. Oh my God, you won a game in extras. Now what? 1-8, fantastic.
My guy Kyle Garlick.
Yeah, your guy Kyle Garlick, and I mean, God bless him. He hits the home run, but I'm not. I hate to rain on the parade. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah,
I'm not feeling it. I do think, Phil, you bring up an interesting point about Miguel, though. I don't know if it was just straight necessity or a great idea, but he was playing some third base on Sunday.
Yeah.
And if you were to take him, like, let's say he gets hot and you start to shop him and say, hey, Team X, guy can still play some third base for you.
Yeah, he's multi-positional.
His value shoots up a bit. I wonder if this is the start, because at some point there has to be a recognition that it's all going to come crashing down again. I wonder if this is the start of just a very sort of savvy, let's see what we can do here to trade him.
Yeah, I personally am just, I don't think Larnach is fully ready. He just hasn't had enough at bats. He's in his mid-20s, but I don't know. There's some there, but I think Kirilloff is further along. But I would rather see Alex Kirilloff and Trevor Larnach get regular playing time and Sano be a part-time player and maybe even Kepler be a part-time player, although he's heating up too. I'm just very curious to see Kirilloff and Larnach and what they can do in this sort of transition year. So if you think you can get something for a hot Miguel Sano, put it this way, you'd have to probably eat money to trade him when he's not hot, right? Because he makes $10 or $11 million per year, and the same for next year.
Yes.
But if you can ride a 3 or 4 week hot stretch, and his OPS, it's at 750 right now. If you can get that thing a little bit higher, even, and present him
Price is
as
right.
a
Higher.
middle, it's the yodeler guy, yodelay.
Higher.
Then I think you should be shopping him aggressively right now. And my worry is that they're going to think, oh, this is it. Finally,
I hope not.
This is the unlocking of Miguel Sano. No, he does this. It's clockwork every year.
Yes, dude.
2 3-week hot stretches surrounded by unplayable stretches and average to below average defense. Like, you just can't pay $10+ million for that when you're not one of the top payroll teams in baseball. So find a trade partner, please.
By the way, John Morosi put out a tweet yesterday about Nelson Cruz, saying Nelson Cruz projects to be one of the top rental bats on the MLB trade market. The Twins have the worst record in baseball, and the Rays are one team to watch. They have liked Cruz in the past as a free agent and rank 13th among 15 teams in OPS at
Careful,
designated
Morosi via Score got savaged last week for floating Barrios' name to the Blue Jays potentially.
Yeah.
He's
Weird.
just speculating on that. He's just speculating. No, he doesn't just throw specific names and teams in the same report or sentence.
It's all fake news. It's all fake news. I listen to none of it. Fake news. Fake news.
But there's a positive angle to this in that, this season has gone down the crapper and this is not what anyone expected. But the Twins could have some pretty amazing ammunition to quickly reload around a good nucleus that still exists.
Pitching. Get some arms.
Yeah.
Please.
All right, one weekend statement from me. I'm going to use a statement that my mother used to lovingly, or not so lovingly, used to say about me all the time. And it's, quote, couldn't find his ass with both hands.
It's a great statement. Yeah.
I'm terrible at remembering and finding things that I need. So, for example, I briefly talked to Phil about this off the mic before. On Friday, I came home. Long, great week of content at Score North. Just worked really, really hard. really hard. Worked really hard, worked a long week. I had no energy. I didn't want to really do anything. But a buddy picked me up. He was like, let's at least go around your block. We'll make a stop at a brewery, and we'll see where the night goes. So we go to a couple ones. They're full. Then we finally land at one spot. I get up to the counter and I realize I don't have my wallet. So I was like, God dang it. I'm only like 4 or 5 blocks from where we are. So I was like, I'll walk back. I'll go grab it. It is what it is. And it was also super hot. So it was like almost 90 degrees with humidity. It was a very warm weekend here. So I go home. I grab my wallet, and I also switch from pants to shorts. I walk back to the brewery, and I realize that I also left my mask in my pants that I changed. So now I have my wallet, but I forgot my mask. So I literally walked all the way back to get the wallet, left the mask at home, and I know masks are still optional. Why do you even need your mask, Declan? I still like to wear it, so that's why I wanted to go get back and get it. Just a terrible, terrible situation to be in.
Well, they're not
I can't
optional
find anything.
in some of the establishments you probably want to go into, right?
Also true, yes. To walk through the dining room or to use the restroom, you still got to wear one. So I ended up having just a couple drinks, and by like 8 o'clock, I was like, I want to go home. I even texted Judd.
We need to teach you the wallet, phone, keys dance.
I do
okay?
it, and I swear I did the dance.
Wallet, phone, keys, mask. Wallet, phone, keys, mask.
Left butt pocket usually always open and/or has the mask. Right wallet, right back wall, right butt pocket is where the wallet goes. Keys in the right front, phone in the front left.
Okay, first of all, Phil's right. The dance is important. But young man, you need to rethink where the wallet is placed. And here's why. It's 2021. We got problems. In this town, we got a lot of problems. Get the wallet out of the back pocket. Put it in a pocket that you control. I'm telling you right now.
You don't control the back pocket.
You don't control the back pocket. And pickpockets, the good ones, are great. So all I'm saying is if you're going to bars or a place where people can bump into you, I'm sorry, get that wallet in front or just take ID, money, credit card, and shove it in your front. I'm dead serious, dude. You do not want that pain.
The phone wallet. The phone wallet is the good one because then it reduces the amount of things that you have. Period. Right. So I just need this one thing. When I do the phone wallet keys dance, phone wallet is one word for me now.
Sure.
Phone wallet keys.
It's like phone
wallet keys. Yes. Now I can only put a few things in here. Right. I've got an essential credit/debit card. I've got my ID. And then I also have some insurance. You never know when you might need to be taken to the emergency room. So I've got my medical insurance card in here and my car insurance card. And once in a while, there's a little $20 bill. That's all you need.
Phil goes out. Yeah, if I get beat up bad, here's my insurance.
But yes, couldn't find his ass with both hands. And that's metaphorically and literally. That works both ways. So
Lessons learned from.
Lessons learned.
I actually have a sort of an off the
go.
field statement here too. Okay.
Go.
Okay. Don't be one of these 3 types of airplane seatmates. That's my statement. Okay.
Oh, no.
So we've all no. I was on a flight from Seattle to Santa Rosa. There's a small airport in Santa Rosa in Sonoma County, where. So long story short, my uncle's had some health problems recently, and so my wife and I went to go visit him and my aunt. And then, while we're out there, go to a couple wineries and make the weekend as fun as you can. So on the flight there, I forgot about this type of seatmate. This was right behind us. I would say there's 3 main terrible types of seatmates on a plane. Number 1 is the invade your personal space guy, where they're hogging the elbow rests, or they're big or something, and they're just sort of spilling over into your personal space, or they're coughing, just like invade your personal bubble guy, right? That's terrible. The second one is invasive question guy, where that's where headphones are key, right? So you can just ignore them.
That's gonna be a no dog.
Yep. Where they're asking you, so what do you do for work? Where are you traveling to or from? Wherever the location is. Like, dude, none of your business. I don't want to talk to you.
And we're not talking.
Yep. But third guy, okay, is the one that I encountered. And luckily it wasn't me. It was his seatmate. I was just eavesdropping. It's the guy that doesn't realize nobody asked you. Okay.
Oh no.
It's the guy that these are verbatim quotes that I wrote down from this. So he sits down, the guy next to him sits down, and then so he's actually invasive question guy first, right? So what are you doing flying out this way, right? It's like, so he's trying to strike up a conversation that nobody wants. And then when that conversation goes dead because the seatmate wants nothing to do with it, he starts in with the comments about himself to try and strike up a discussion. This is my 3rd delay in the last month. Now I'm not going to be able to make my connection. And he's just talking out loud, right? So, and I personally, I would just ignore it if it were me sitting next to him. But then the seatmate feels obligated to respond to the comments that are being made out loud, right? Oh, looks like it's a beautiful day outside. I wonder what the temperature is, right? Dude, nobody asked you.
Oh my
Nobody
And is
asked
the person
you.
responding, or is the person talking back, or are they trying to shut it down?
No, the person is clearly annoyed, but also uncomfortable with just flat ignoring it. So, giving those sort of half-assed
They're trying to shut it down, but not.
You got to be comfortable just freezing them out. You
Yeah,
have
dude.
to
Yep.
ignore them, and that's
Box
the key
out,
to
yeah.
headphones. The headphones are key, even if you don't use them.
Yep.
If you have the headphones in, you can make a show too if you need to. You can pull the headphone off the ear and say, "I'm sorry, what did you say?"
Huh?
So
Yep.
that they know that they're interrupting something that you're listening to. So invades your personal space guy, invasive question guy, and nobody asked you to comment on the thing that you're commenting on guy are the 3 types that you want to avoid and freeze out on the airplane.
And how about the person in front of you, obnoxious guy who throws his seat back, who reclines without I'll try and jam my knees in to stop it from going back. And you'll be jerking, why can't I get this thing back? And I'll just stop it. Now it hurts a little bit, but it's worth it.
You gotta do it.
It's worth it because guy will give up
gotta
and
sacrifice.
get ticked off.
Yep.
But there's so many different layers of defense on planes. Mm-hmm. It's literally, it's like Zim's ideal world, right? Because good plane travel is all about defense.
Well, then there's
There's some offense, but there's way more defense of how you're going to box out or shut down.
I think the most common one that gets talked about a lot is obviously the people that stand up right when the seatbelt light comes off and the plane has reached the gate. And there's still 10 to 15 minutes before you actually get off the plane.
Yes.
And I'm generally, listen, I get it. People, you've been sitting for 2, 3, 4 hours, so I get it to some extent. But what bothers me is when people do it and then they start to walk up the aisle and pass other people that are sitting.
Yeah, it's impatient guy.
Yeah.
If you've got a connecting flight that's going to be taking off soon, I get that one. But if you're just, I don't have patience for this. You know what? Actually, yes, you do. So sit down and shut up.
calm down, sir. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Impatient guy. You know,
But-
I'm a traveling salesman. I don't have patience. No, actually, just shut up.
Okay, but I do want to know, because I know Phil Mackey is this guy. Did you take off your shoes on the airplane?
I did not on this flight, but I have been known to.
Wow.
I don't go barefoot.
Oh.
I don't go barefoot.
At
but
least,
sometimes
okay. All
I'll
right,
keep
that's
my
somewhat
socks on.
better. But, okay.
Yeah, don't go barefoot.
I'd
and
almost
I just want to say I keep them under, like no one knows I'm, I keep
Got
them
it.
underneath.
What shoes
the
are you
seat.
wearing on the plane that you like to take off? Like, are they like tennis shoes? Are they like? I did find when I was traveling quite a bit on the Vikings beat, I started to go slippers.
Oh,
Because
wow.
the slippers you could sort of slide your feet out of, but you can slide them right back in.
Wait, so you bring slippers in your carry-on, so you take your shoes off and put the slippers on, or do you wear
no,
slippers
I'll just
on
wear the
plane?
slippers on the plane.
Oh.
Like I started to travel in sweatpants and slippers.
Oh wow.
Just ultimate comfort.
I'm a psycho who I'm cool in jeans, like almost in any type of situation. So I can fly in jeans. That's fine. But like the PJ
'cause you're
look,
really
I
thin.
don't. Well, maybe I guess, and I look good.
I
in
hate
them.
you for
I don't
that.
know, but at
And
the
actually,
same
you don't
time,
look that good, just thin.
I can't stand the PJ look in public. It bugs me. It honestly.
Really? Oh, you wouldn't
upsets
like me then?
Yeah, I can't.
Oh,
no.
you don't. You must not like me right now because I'm in my sweatpants.
What do you think? People are just like not classing it up enough for you?
It's just like, why would you leave the house looking like that? Like you're wearing
Because
your
you're-
PJs. You wear
Because
those
a
clothes to
plane
bed.
is okay, but they're not PJs. Like I've got
Declan,
sweatpants
Declan would
on.
prefer the 1940s and 50s, the
Yeah.
early days
eh?
of planes and ballparks, where all the men wear suits and ties, and
Yeah.
they go to the ballpark with the hat on.
That's
top
the
hat
Giants
on,
and
right?
Dodgers from
Yes,
the Polo
hey, man.
Grounds. The men are all dressed up, and the women are all in their dresses.
You know how sweaty people probably were up until like the last 20 or 30 years?
I don't understand
think
how they
think
did
about
it.
the old days, like the 1800s, right? Where
No AC.
there's no air conditioning. These
Yep.
people are wearing like 7-piece suits and layers, and the women are wearing these like dresses with dresses underneath and all this stuff. It's like, are you serious? Everyone just smelled like BO all the time. They weren't
Oh, it'd be
showering every
disgusting.
day.
In the 70s into, I want to say, the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, like we used to dress up to fly. Like look nice. Try and look as nice as
Yeah,
possible.
put that blazer on. Yeah.
That's one of the
Right.
stupidest things of all time.
Older people still, when when you're sitting in your seat and you're watching people come down the aisle, you'll notice a lot of young people are just rocking like whatever hoodies and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of older people will be wearing, like older men will wear the sport coat with the golf shirts. They're not super classy, but they just feel like, oh, this
Right.
is
But I mean, people used to put ties on,
yeah.
like collared shirts
My-
and ties to travel.
My only goal when flying is to make sure that I don't have to like have a bathroom emergency and to make sure I'm comfortable. Period. Those seats are going
Comfort's
to hurt
key.
your ass. Like,
Yep.
yeah,
I get it.
yeah.
Yep. Comfort is absolutely, positively the most important thing. And if I am, because like you're cramped up, right? Like you're cramped up, and then you got to like sort of undo and no. Hoodie, sweatpants. But I'm telling you, consider some nice slippers, Phil.
I don't know if I can go that far.
I'm not a slippers guy either. I just like
Oh, you don't like slippers? I
don't
love
like
slippers now.
either. I
I
don't
think
know.
you'll like them as
PJs
you
aren't
age.
in general. Even though I just ragged on PJ in general. Like I don't have PJs. Like I'm not a PJs guy.
Yeah, I'm not
I
either.
like shorts or
Shorts, yeah.
that's it. Kind of like roll with.
Glad we had this discussion though.
Me
This is
too.
good. It was very
Me
good.
too.
Yep. All right, good stuff today. Little statements action here on Mackey and Judd. We'll see if the Wild can keep things alive, and we'll give you the full breakdown. Mackey and Judd podcast, your home for Wild playoff breakdowns, and the Score North YouTube channel, which is up over 5,000 subscribers now. So thank you guys for being part of our community on YouTube. Purple Daily, also, we're rocking daily Vikings conversations even during the off season. So check that out. We'll see you guys tomorrow on Mackey and Judd.